All right, so in this video, I'm going to be continuing the last one and figuring out how to get this this streak formatting to work correctly. So let's, instead of, I was trying to do everything on conditional formatting. I think what I'm going to do instead is take a different approach and say, and create a column formula. And the way that column formulas work is, any column can be generated, auto-generated, where all the contents are filled with a formula. And so for this auto formula, what I want to do is put the word done in whenever these buttons are hit, right? Or whenever whenever a habit gets done. So I'm going to go ahead and go to habits, done, and I'll say habits, if habits done dot filter. Let's start over. I want this value to say if something happens, let's just call it true for now, then I want it to say done. Or I want it to say not done. And because we like emoji, I'm going to just, let's see, frowny face. And smiley face. Yes. All right. So, that's our first shot at it. You see that it's got this nice emoji there. How you like that? And it will do that every cell, because right now the formula says, well, if this condition is true, then do this value. Otherwise, do that value. This if statement obviously is always going to come true and do the first value, because we're literally putting the word true in there. But what we want here is an actual condition based on this habits chart down here. And so I'm going to say if habits done dot filter, again, I'm trying to filter if there is a row on habits done where the date is equal to the date from this table, which it does not like that at all. So I'm going to manually change it to this row dot date, because we're looking at this row on this table versus the date, which is green. And pro tip, they color code these variables so that even though you've got a variable that's named the same, you can tell they're from different tables based on the color. So green date and green habits done means that this date field is from habits done. And same deal here. So we can filter on that. But we also want to filter on the habit from there is equal to review the OKR board, which is a habit from this habits table. Great. And it looks like it's working. And the way that we can tell if it's working is we go over here and we say, you know what, on 321, I didn't do it, so I'm just going to delete this. And all of a sudden, oh, it's not there. That's great. But the only problem is it looks like it doesn't like the not done for some reason. Oh yeah, because it's just this is just returning. This formula right here is just giving you a list, and if it has an empty list, it doesn't know what to do with it. So we want to make sure that we're saying if the count of those rows is greater than 0, then it'll be done. Otherwise, it'll not be done. Doesn't like the frowny face emoji. Look at that. That's interesting. So we can then go to copy. We're going to grab the formula, copy it, and well, you know what? I want everything to kind of be uniform across here, and so I'm just gonna create some values here. One is, we're just gonna call it message when done, and it's going to be equal to this string right here. And I want another one that's the exact same, except it's a message when not done. So that I don't have to copy and paste a bunch of things or change things later. And so now I'm referring to these variables that I just set up. One cool thing about Coda is you can put variables directly into your document. You don't have to put them in tables. They can just be right here. And now I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. Hit equals to pull up the formulas and change the habit here to work inbox 0. And change the habit here to personal inbox 0. It doesn't want me to do that, so it doesn't like my keyboard presses. Great. And now I can also across these rows say if all rows, there's no formula. So this is not actually a conditional format, I guess. I'm not really sure why you would even have this. Here we go, formula. So let's say this row or this cell. I'm not sure how you would do this actually. We want any cell on here that says done. Or that has the message when done to be read. Okay, so this is true. That's not really helping. And so for conditional formatting in Coda, it's not quite like Excel where you can work on cells, which makes sense because they don't work on a cell basis, they work on a column basis. So what we'll have to do is if the OKR contains equals message when done, then we'll make it blue. And that blue color is what we want. And I want to, oops. Hotkeys are interesting here. So I want to duplicate this. And instead of the OKR, I want work inbox 0. And then finally, I want to duplicate this again, and everywhere where I see work inbox 0, I'm going to change it to personal inbox 0. Yeah. And yeah, I really like this. I like how it feels. I may want to restructure this at some point because now that I'm thinking about it, these buttons could just fill these rows in, which I think would be very cool. In fact, let's just try that. Let's see what happens here. We can say add or modify row. So this is log OKR look. These are formula OKR2. Let's just make another button here. Log OKR look 2. And we're going to say add or modify row. And instead of habits, we're just going to target the streak and set the value of date equals today. And the OKR2 equals message when done. So that anytime I hit this button, it will find the a row where it's 323, and then it will create that. The only issue here, though, is that I don't want it to make a new row, right? I want it to, let's see, filter. Oh, to find the one. I want it to find the row if it does exist, and then just go ahead and hit it or put stuff in there. So here, this filter tells it if I find a row where the date is equal to today, then change that row and update that row rather than create a new one. So there. Now if I hit this button, it will automatically fill this in, which I actually really like that, and I think I might like that even better than our initial setup. So I'm going to keep kind of refining this, and I think over time I'll kind of build this out to the point where yeah, I feel a little bit better about how the data is stored and structured. The downside with doing this is you can't check how many times a day you do something, but honestly, I don't really care how many times. I just want to make sure that I do it once, check it off, and move on with my day. So it may be that this structure is the way that I go. So yeah, I really like that. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and hide these columns because I can do that. The last thing I want to do here is yeah, restructure a little bit so that this habit clicker page stays very clean. And so I'm just going to come over here and say, just call this the data page. You can even have a whole nested series of pages, but I'm just going to move these over here so that they're not quite in the way. And move these variables over here too. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Oops, I can't see anything anymore. So these are the new ones. These are the old ones that we did when we first put this table together, which I think I'm going to just go ahead and abandon those because I feel like, they were okay, but they were a little harder to work with when I wanted to visualize it the way that I wanted. And yeah, I mean, this table is much easier to keep track of. Like, I can just look through here and then know for certain that it's the data that I want, and not have to look through another table or make another chart, which is really nice. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I think I want to make one more video just cleaning this up, and we'll go from there.